Let's podcast alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovies, inside the Eford Studios in downtown Raleigh, which, Joe, thanks to Empire Properties, right? We're inside here in Eford Studios. They do a fantastic job, but dedication, Joe.
Hey, there's a Ferris wheel. I could throw a rock and hit a Ferris wheel. If we had a window, we could. I could just take a step outside and hit it. Our two blocks are closed. So this is what I do for you people. I come in, not on a Monday, because anybody can podcast on a Monday. I come in on a Tuesday.
Yeah, but anybody...
when they've closed all of my parking points. Hey, this is for you. This is for the people. I'm a man of the people. Viva la raza.
Anybody can podcast after like a week and a half break.
No,
but there's a lot to get into.
It's better to do it on a Monday.
Fair point. But we'll get into this. We had to wait. Honestly, it was strategic.
Yes.
One, I wanted to go to the Canes game last night. I know you worked the Canes game. I was there with Kelly. And the Falcons were playing Rams on Monday Night Football, which had implications for the Panthers, which we will get to.
Oh, my God.
So it was almost like, let's wait for Tuesday because we have like actual news things to get into, along with all the other things that are going on. Anyway, big thanks to Empire Properties. They always do a fantastic job. And I know first night's going to be a hell of a lot of fun starting up tomorrow. I usually kind of come here during the day to kind of get the vibes and go about my business. You will not catch me downtown in the middle of the night. I'll be in my backyard, high as a kite, staring at the fire, waiting for midnight.
I asked my wife if we could celebrate New Year's at 6 with the kids this year.
You want to go to Marbles?
Not my kids.
You want to do New Year's Eve at Marbles?
Kids. Yeah. That's what I said.
Man.
Like, can we just go downtown at like 6 whenever they drop the acorn, like the fake drop?
Yeah.
Because
do you think if we go to Marbles, I can get in on? Because I have not paid.
Marbles people love us. Like,
I know, but I have not been a member of Marbles now for probably.
Lucky for you, Nora Giglio is a volunteer there and has been.
But do you think if I go to the front desk and I say, "Hey, you're talking to the former Foursquare King mayor of Marbles"? Remember when they used to do the mayors of like various establishments? I was a mayor for like 6 months running at Marbles. Thank you very much.
We need to do a show for Marbles. Obviously, I'll have to clean up my language for us to do a show.
Or do you want to do it for Money Palooza?
I want to do it from upstairs, like in that little Millennial Falcon.
Oh
pit.
yeah.
We can make this happen.
That's good stuff. God, man, I have not been to Marbles in so long. That train table got work back in the day.
If you ever need to naturally immunize your kids,
the original train
yourself.
Table. I also love back when I used to work mornings and I'd take my older son. We'd go in the afternoons, and the looks I would get were like, "What's up with this dude?" What?
There's a lot of that energy.
You got the same thing, because of the way.
Who kidnapped this guy?
My personal favorite. I was just, I see, babysitting the kids. Like, no, little daddy time. Like, no, this is like every afternoon. This is what it is. Anyway, all right. So today's show, slightly different. Since it's the only show we're doing this week. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see the Butcher's Market logo there in the bottom right corner. Big thanks to the Butcher's Market. They've been with us from the jump. They bring you the OG lives. They bring you the free portion of the OG mailbag. Speaking of the mailbag, that's what makes today's show a little bit different. It's a hybrid show. So we'll get into the Panthers, a lot of the stuff that we've been kind of building up during the break, bowl game stuff, ACC plays getting ready to start up. So instead of doing a traditional Hey show, we'll push everybody over to the YouTube membership side for the entirety of the mailbag, which will hit on 3 things. We will do an OG audit. I was going over some podcast analytics yesterday, just to kind of see how 2025 went, what worked, what didn't work, what are some things we can do in 2026. We worked the Google Voice search function. I think we found 3 calls that, for whatever reason, got you to jot it down on your brown paper bag over here on the desk. Now, forever grateful we already used in the year-end show.
Yes, that's an all-time Cy Young, Walter Johnson, original Hall of Fame class. Cannot be knocked off of its perch. It needed its own moment.
It did. So we'll go through 3 calls that perked Giglio's interest. Like, why was there like a Rick's Cabaret? Why did I jot that down? So we'll do that. And we'll also go through some of the listener moments of 2025. All of that will be on the YouTube membership channel. So head on over to @OG Triangle Media. Hit that join button. It says $5 a month, and you'll get to enjoy that. But on this, as it relates to this, the free portion of it, we got the Panthers going full, the NFC South going full ACC. We got some ACC stuff going up. We got some Canes. We got college football things. And of course, Christmas hot takes. We got some Christmas hot takes. It's finally time for me to admit something.
Okay.
I finally accepted something this Christmas break.
Okay.
And we'll see how this plays out for me the rest of the year. As I mentioned, we waited kind of, sort of, because I wanted to see what happened with the Falcons and the Rams on Monday Night Football. And sure enough,
my gosh,
the Falcons went out and did the thing. This stat's got you written all over it, Joe. I thought you would appreciate this. This is from Alan Coe, former AP writer. Since 2018, the Atlanta Falcons are 53-78. That's just above 400 in games played with playoff eligibility on the line. They are 11-4 over 700 in games played after being mathematically eliminated. Make that 12-4 after they hung on and they beat the Rams last night.
It's the anti-Dave Doran. Like in crisis mode, Dave's like, all right, let's go.
So
when they're like footloose and fancy free, they're like, yes.
So what does this mean? Well, the NFC South looked at the ACC this season with Duke getting into the ACC championship game on the 5th tiebreaker and eventually winning it all and said, hold our Super Bowl 50 beer. Don't crack it open just yet, okay? Don't crack it open just yet. The Falcons play into the Carolina Panthers playoff chances by virtue of winning last night and the possibility of winning again on Sunday when they play the Saints. I feel this is a better setup. I feel like this is a better setup for the Carolina Panthers. You know, around Christmas time, they say you'll be visited by 3 ghosts. Okay. Mm-hmm. You will be visited by 3 ghosts during Christmas. The 3 ghosts include Baker Mayfield. Got over on him. He's Mr. Turnover prone. I don't know if he's hiding an injury or something like that. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have now lost 7 of their last 8. Their only win was against the Arizona Cardinals, who have now lost 8 in a row, I believe. Yeah. So the Bucs are in a spiral right now, an absolute spiral going into the last game of the season against the Carolina Panthers. So that's ghost number 1. Ghost number 2 is Sam Darnold, who we saw at Bank of America Stadium on Sunday. And he was very Sam Darnold. Late in the year, it's crunch time. The Seahawks are one of the more turnover-prone teams this season, even though they've only lost 3 times, and they're in contention, you know, in the NFC. Although I have thoughts with Sam Darnold being your quarterback, can we truly take you seriously as an NFC contender with everybody else out there? And Sam Darnold did his best to give that game to the Panthers, but the Panthers really couldn't do anything with it, or the ball bounced a funny way, right? Like the Derek Brown thing. Man, that would have been really nice to have that. J.C. Horn, bring it in. Right? All those types of things. So that's ghost number 2. Who's ghost number 3? The Saints. The ghost of losing to the Saints twice, because this is how this is all set up now. The Panthers can make it easy by beating the Buccaneers on Saturday.
Yeah, the Panthers technically are a game ahead of both the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Atlanta Falcons.
Yes. So all the Panthers have to do Saturday, 4:30, everybody watching, beat the Bucs. And the Bucs are very beatable, given that they're in this spiral right now. And really, I guess Shedeur Sanders did the NFL a favor by positioning the Steelers-Ravens game to be the Sunday night marquee game instead of the NFC South showdown between the Panthers and the Buccaneers. But you're wondering, well, wait a minute. How are the Saints the third ghost in this situation? Well, hear me out. While the Panthers have done the every other week win-loss thing, and Sunday's game was a scheduled loss for the Carolina Panthers, therefore, Saturday should be a scheduled win for the Carolina Panthers. Let's just say the Panthers don't win on Saturday. Let's just say the pattern finally breaks in the wrong direction for the Carolina Panthers.
So they would be 8-9. The Buccaneers would be 8-9. But then the Falcons would be 7-9, but cannot win. They've already been eliminated, but they're 7-9.
So the Bucs do not automatically win the NFC South if they beat the Panthers. They have to wait because of the Falcons last night. They have to wait for the result of the Saints and Falcons. So wouldn't it just be something for the Panthers to finally break the cycle in the wrong way, and we all have to watch as a family an NFC South dumpster fire matchup between the Saints and the Falcons, where you need the Falcons to not falcon and beat the Saints. Because if the Saints close out the year with these 2 wins, it puts everybody into a tiebreaker scenario, which the Panthers, by win percentage, end up being your NFC South champs. And they get into the playoffs, and Notre Dame gets even more upset.
So here it is distilled to its simplest form.
Yes.
If the Panthers are in a 2-way tie with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they will lose.
Yes.
If they are in a 3-way tie with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Atlanta Falcons, they will win the division. It's that simple.
So the way A Christmas Carol works is you get visited by these 3 ghosts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Past, present, future. But in this particular case, for the Carolina Panthers, you've been visited by past, and past. These are the 3 ghosts. You've had the past of Baker Mayfield and the weirdness of like, hey, what was your time like in Carolina? Man, fuck them. Okay, Baker, got you. Oh, okay. Cool.
Got it.
All right.
Roger.
Sam Darnold. Hey, your time. Sam Darnold giving the most nondescript answer ever. Fan Darnold was in attendance on Sunday. I thought that was kind of amusing. And most of his play did look like his interpretation of a Panthers logo on Sunday. He was not good.
Right.
He just was not good. So that's past ghost number 2. Past ghost number 3 is losing to the Saints, not once, but twice. And now you've left it in the hands of the Saints in this situation.
And technically, the reason that they would lose the head-to-head tie with Tampa is their division record.
Yes.
And it is those losses to
Yes.
the Saints that would haunt them.
Yes.
So you're absolutely right. And it's the Saints, the ghost of the past, trying to haunt them and ruin their future, quite frankly.
So we'll see what happens. Again, this all can be taken care of if the Panthers just beat the Buccaneers on Saturday, starting at 4:30. Now, I'll say this about, because I was listening to Julian Council on Locked On, and I thought Julian had the best attitude about it, in that, given the pattern, given where the Seahawks are, losing to the Seahawks is not a surprise. Losing to the Seahawks was something that honestly you should have expected. But you could still be disappointed because it was right there for you, because the Bucs complied. The Bucs had to lose on Sunday to the Dolphins. And that game was not even close, by the way. I know the score is not indicative of what that game actually was. Quinn Ewers went out there and stunted on the freaking Buccaneers. That's pathetic. Pathetic. All right? That Dolphins team was left for dead earlier this season, and somehow they've miraculously turned it around and put it all on Tua Tagovailoa, and Mike McDaniel looks like his job is safe, all things considered. That I did not have that on my bingo card for this NFL season. But that's neither here nor there. The disappointment comes in the form, for me at least, if you're watching the Panthers, the disappointment comes in the form of an opportunity for you to show that you have turned a corner this season, or that you have risen above this weird pattern, or that you truly can sneak into the playoffs and be a team that might surprise. But in order to do that, you have to beat other playoff teams of this caliber who can be there for the taking. That's how you make hay in the playoffs. That's how you surprise people. You're going to have to knock off somebody who's a top contender. And the Seahawks have a great defense. And I'm not really caught up in the Bryce Young stats. I know everybody's been pointing to the 54 yards, but that was a total offensive failure. It was a total offensive failure. From his interception to Chuba Hubbard getting stripped to wide receivers dropping passes or miscommunication on routes and things like that. That was a collective offensive failure going up against a top defense in the NFL. The real disappointment.
54 yards.
I
That's
know,
like
dude.
Army, Navy, Georgia Tech, Paul Johnson.
That's terrible.
Jim Grobe, Wake Forest, worst offense in the history of the league. Like, what?
To me, the real disappointment comes in the form of you couldn't take advantage of what Sam Darnold was giving you. And sometimes they were funny bounces. That's fine. It is what it is. But also, like after the Mike Jackson interception, you can't just turn around and give the ball back to the Saints. So I think in terms of the scores off turnovers, I ended up being 14-3. And you're not going to win a game that way. You're just not going to win that game. So on one hand, I get it. The Panthers, that was a scheduled loss given the pattern going up against a top NFC team. But on the other hand, you can absolutely be disappointed in their play for not elevating in the moment to just grab and make your own destiny. Didn't happen. And now we're here. Another opportunity for you to take care of it yourself on Saturday. But nothing about the Panthers has been easy. Nothing about the Panthers has been easy. So, and honestly, the Panthers season really encapsulates the entirety of the NFL this year. I've had a really hard time trying to get into the NFL this year because there's just a lot of teams that I don't buy. And it was interesting. I was watching the Fox postgame. Was it the Fox postgame? Yeah, I think it was the Fox postgame where Terry Bradshaw shockingly said something that resonated with me. We're going to have to get used to some of these teams that we haven't necessarily been paying attention to and realize, oh man, they might be legit. And I'm looking directly at the Buffalo Bills, by the way. Looking directly at the Buffalo Bills and what's happening with the New England Patriots. It's all there for you. The Chiefs are done. Patrick Mahomes is hurt. The Ravens are a shell of themselves right down to the Steelers, Ravens, winner gets in dynamic, right? You've had a run of the AFC East now. And here we are with the rookie phenomenon, or no, second-year phenomenon in Drake May. Drake May. And he could be the MVP. And man, I don't know if I'm ready for the Josh Allen takes if they don't do it this year.
It's funny when you and I were growing up, teams won the Super Bowl without being a war machine.
Yeah.
I could name all of the Washington teams that won the Super Bowl under Joe Gibbs.
Mm-hmm.
Not a war machine.
Mm-hmm.
The second Giants team that won the Super Bowl. Not a war machine, right? Like it happened. These things happened, right? Not everything was a dynasty. Not everything was the Niners. Yeah. Not everything was, since Brady, really, it's been, it has to be this all-time quarterback. The only way to win a Super Bowl is with this all-time quarterback or Peyton Manning. Or, right. You got your chance, Drew Brees, you got your chance, Aaron Rodgers here and there, right? But that sometimes we have to remember, and it happens in basketball, it happens in baseball, it happens in sports, it happens in hockey all the time. You don't have to be a war machine to win the title. You don't have to be a war machine to be the champ. It happens in the NCAA tournament almost every year. So I think our brains are so wired to think, it has to be the 85 Bears. If this one-off team wins, it's going to be like the all-time greatest even.
Mm-hmm.
No. It's probably going to be a jabroni that wins it this year.
Mm-hmm.
Shit, it might be Vrabel. It might be the fucking Seahawks with Mike McDonald. I don't know. Because the team I think is going to win it, or I've thought all along is going to win it, has now lost to the fucking Panthers and the Falcons in meaningless football games. Like, what are you fucking doing,
You're
Rams?
talking about the Rams.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, I don't have a single clue what you're doing. So I think we have to get used to that idea. And people who talk about the NFL, they get it in their brain, like, no, really, Matthew Stafford's just like Tom Brady. He's just like, it's like, no.
Dude, I heard some of that about Brock Purdy. No.
Yeah, Brock Purdy had a really good game. Like, they're going to be the number, they could potentially be the number one seed, right? The Niners?
The Niners have turned it around. I get, like, what?
With what? That's the craziest thing.
The Niners are turning around and Brock Purdy healthy, and they've been legit. What, 8 or 9 wins in a row?
Do you want to know what you really don't want to hear right now?
What do I not
want to? Do you know what you really? Do you know what you really, 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 really don't want to hear right now?
What do I not want to hear right now?
The number one seed in the AFC could potentially be the New England Patriots at 13-3.
Mm-hmm.
The number one seed in the NFC could potentially be the San Francisco 49ers, who are 12-4. Do you know who's played the 2 of the 3 easiest schedules in the NFL this year?
Those 2 teams.
The 2 last place teams from the previous year. The Patriots have played the 32nd hardest schedule.
Mm-hmm.
The 49ers have played essentially the same schedule at 30th.
Yeah.
And it's like, takes notes. Schedule matters.
I mean, that's always by design too with the NFL.
Stars it.
In their quest for parity.
Got it.
In their quest for parity. That's always been the case. Always been the case. Housekeeping is brought to you by Enovana. Check them out online at enovana.com.
If you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it clean with Enovana.
Speaking of being visited by ghosts of Christmas past, you're probably still looking at your Christmas mess, right?
No doubt.
Schedule cleaning with Enovana. You've had people over, the kids have wrecked the place with all the toys and various other things. Or maybe you just have grown adult man-childs like me, and you just, I'll put that away. No, you haven't put it away. Enovana's not going to put it away, but they will clean up. So hit them up, inovana.com. There's not much housekeeping. Like I said earlier, we're going to do a weird hybrid show today. And I figured we could just kind of spend some time thanking our corporate champions of 2025 here. Do a little billboard brought to you by. And one thing that I feel is important. We don't give them enough love, but I feel like this is an opportunity to do so. Heaster Automotive Group.
Mm-hmm.
Big shouts to Heaster. Bennett has been with us from the jump. Again, another one of the situations where we're transitioning over to a full-time podcast. We need corporate champions to keep this thing afloat. And Bennett did not hesitate to bring the hotline over to the podcast. And they've helped us out, like my kid's Honda. Hey, Heaster Automotive Group came through in the clutch on that one. And he loves his old Honda Civic from 2009, man. It's the perfect first car for a teenager.
James's Passat is an 2009.
And I also want to
maybe an 11.
I want to thank Bennett for trying to talk you into getting like an actual car for real once.
Well, yeah, it's we're working on these things. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to maximize our revenue.
Is it time to have a meeting?
I'm actually trying to maximize our taxable income. That's what I'm trying to do.
So you want to get a business mobile?
Well, no, yes, government. I want to get a business mobile.
You want to get a business mobile?
Yes, government.
What does that mean?
While you're listening.
What does that mean? What does that mean for me? Since we are a 50-50 LLC here.
Well, I reduce our taxable income as a corporate entity.
That's good.
Yeah. That's why businesses buy cars.
Can I get like a corporate?
It always happens on December.
Can I get a corporate jet ski?
That's why those bonuses that you used to get in December, they happen in December.
It's funny because the money has to leave.
Yes.
Yeah.
By a certain time.
Yeah. Why don't we just give ourselves a bonus?
You know why we can't do that? Actually,
why can't we? I honestly do not know.
We need a payroll, and you have to pay payroll tax in order to have a payroll.
No.
And the number one thing about a payroll that your boy will never do is you have to give money to unemployment.
I see.
And I never took $1 of unemployment, so I'm not paying towards unemployment.
Yeah, I've never done that either. Okay, gotcha.
So I got laid off on a random fucking Wednesday and had to sell my fucking Michael Jordan rookie cards.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not fucking donating to that. Thank you.
Okay, I got you.
No,
I didn't even think about that.
Structure your business in a way with payroll where you and I would make less money as the year went along.
I see.
And then in December, we would essentially double our income.
You don't want to do that.
There's a value to it.
Okay.
But no, we don't need to do that.
I leave these decisions to you.
You have an interesting way of scarring me sometimes, and that's fine.
What did I do?
It's fine.
I just asked a question.
It's fine.
I was just curious.
Hey,
we're having a meeting, not a trauma dump.
We started contributing to a retirement fund this year.
Yeah. Okay? Hell yeah.
Don't ask how much, but we did.
Anyway, I trust Bennett will steer you in the right direction. And again, big thanks to Heaster Automotive Group. Also, we're sitting here talking about payroll and taxes and paperwork and all that kind of stuff. Hey, big thanks to our guy, Chris Brassfield.
Yeah.
Brassfield Accounting. Okay. Check out brassfieldaccounting.com. When I was going through, I'm going to give this away. When I was doing the OG audit, I noticed there was a sizable amount of downloads from Alaska.
Ooh,
who could be listening to us
be?
In Alaska? Why? That's Chris Brassfield in Homer, Alaska. So look, you can see that Giglio sometimes gets a little overwhelmed with these types of things. You might find yourself overwhelmed with these types of things.
Well, you might actually have those questions too. Like, hey, what is our structure? Is the structure of our business right?
Bingo.
Little things like that. You might not even think of what are your different options.
This is why you contact our friends at Brassfield Accounting, brassfieldaccounting.com. Big thanks to Roback. They'll be with us all throughout 2026. I'm rocking the Roback Ready crew neck right now. It's warm.
That's very nice.
It's great. I need the hoodie version. Ben, I need the hoodie version.
Very
anyway,
nice.
Large. Anyway, let's say you got some Christmas cash. My aunt still sends me money for Christmas.
That's nice.
You know what I'm going to do with that money? I'm gonna go to Roback and get myself some more stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The Christmas quarter was a big hit. People love that Christmas
quarter. I
quarter.
See that. Yeah.
And I know
it's a conversation piece.
It is, and I know a lot of people got Roback under the tree. Hopefully, everybody either took advantage of the sale around Black Friday or they used our promo code OG20. So big thanks to Roback. Also, big thanks to Miller Lending. Speaking of expertise, you're looking to consolidate debt in 2026. Might be us. Who knows? You've been hearing about the rates coming down, right? Hey, just have the conversation. All right. Just have the conversation. And one thing about Miller Lending and what Gordon does, beyond like not paying closing costs or like, oh yeah, this rate's available if you do XYZ. Like, no. None of that stuff. The rate is the rate. More importantly, they'll tell you, hey, this might not make sense for you right now. So the most important thing, and if you're making New Year's resolutions, just have that conversation with Gordon Miller and Miller Lending. So hit them up today, 919-447-3377, millerlending.com. Big thanks to Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. You can check them out at bugsbite.com. Give yourself the gift of mosquito-free weekends this spring and summer. Start thinking about that now. Think about what you could do with the backyard, misting systems, things like that.
Feels like a win.
We've had a lot of weird weather too, and you can get a moisture barrier under your house. That can really cause a lot of damage if you don't take advantage or if you don't take care of it. So head on over to bugsbite.com and start up that conversation. Speaking of saving money, Matt Davis, State Farm. Not only are you going to save money on home and auto with our friends at State Farm with Matt Davis and Garner, also help you with financial planning as well for 2026 and beyond. So start that conversation. Give them a call at 919-779-8277 or visit insuregarner.com. Big thanks to Hometown Realty. I know I have this question. You walk around the neighborhood, you're seeing a lot of houses for sale, and they've just been sitting there. Well, what does that mean? Have you been thinking about selling your house? Maybe it's not the right time. You've been thinking about buying a house. What does all this inventory mean for maybe taking advantage of talking a seller down, right? Hey, only one way to get these answers. Contact our friends at Hometown Realty, myhtr.com. You buy, you sell, you refinance. Hey, you can get that thing closed with Whitaker and Hamer. Check them out at Whitaker and Hamer, wh.lawyer. Again, that's wh.lawyer. And of course, our friends at Bloomin' Blinds. I've been seeing a lot of the work that Chris and the crew have been doing. One thing I did not realize, we've been talking about blinds like inside the house. But let's say you've got one of those four season rooms and the sun hits at the worst time. You get sunshades in those four season rooms.
What?
A lot of cool stuff over at Bloomin' Blinds. So check them out. 919-980-9815, bloominblinds.com. Again, that's bloominblinds.com. Went to the Canes game last night, got to Slavin Sunday. Power through, baby.
Great move.
Power through. It was good stuff. It definitely hit in the second period. Saw our guy Jared there.
Mm-hmm.
Dimitri likes to give me a lot of crap because I'm always wearing like OG gear. I'm like, you got to market yourself, dude. You got to market yourself.
If you don't, who will?
So Jared has a Two Roosters Canes jersey.
No.
It says Two Roosters on the back and then number 2.
I was going to say, we need a hockey jersey, but we have one.
We have one. We have our ice pack jersey.
We actually have the best one.
I mean, you're looking for ways to like do marketing expenses and some December purchases. Custom jersey, Joe. Custom Canes jersey, like Two Roosters, right? Maybe not. Anyway, when you go to the Canes games this year, get the Slavin Sunday. They're absolutely fantastic.
I got a great way for you to save money at the arena Sunday.
Big thanks to Longleaf Swine. You can get OG Light at Longleaf Swine. It's also a good way to get everybody out of the house. You're cooped up. You got nothing to do. You're done with all the leftovers. Just go to Longleaf and have a good time. So check them out, longleafswine.com.
Always parking on Edenton.
And maybe you did a lot of hosting. Maybe you got another big grill sesh happening on New Year's Eve because you're having people over, right? Maybe you've done a lot of tailgating and it's over. You know what you do? You go to NC Grill Rescue. Go to ncgrillrescue.com and clean your outdoor kitchen, your tailgate setup, whatever it is that you're doing a lot of this work on. You got to treat it nicely. You got to keep up with it. Otherwise, your investment is going to rust away. You don't want that.
No.
So head on over to ncgrillrescue.com and take advantage of cleaning your grill. And of course, our friends at Color Graphic, they brought you the brief history of Triangle Good. We need a tap handle. A little bit of news here on the OG.
Oh, I can get you one.
We get a new tap handle with a QR code that takes you to the podcast.
Okay.
Because OG Light will be available at RDU in January.
Where?
RDU.
The airport?
At the airport. What's better than an airport beer, Joe?
Oh my gosh.
An airport OG Light.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, so Bond Brothers Terminal 2 is supposed to be opening in January. And they will have OG Light on tap.
Hit the sound or hit the alarm.
So we need a new tap handle. And Color Graphic can do that for you. They can do it. They can do something like a tap handle.
I was just about to show you the thing that Glenn made me for my wife.
What's that?
Which was the best. It was the hit of Christmas.
Okay.
What was your big gift that you got Kelly while I
it was a cat meme thing.
A cat meme?
Yeah. It was like an art print that said more spaghetti, less upsetty. I mean, honestly, that the words to live by.
Okay, so we're like the same person then, because look what Glenn created for me.
Oh, look at that.
Bon Jovi. So that's now, when you walk into my
She
kitchen.
had a very Bon Jovi Christmas. Apparently.
I know.
It's
probably
it's getting there.
Closing time.
Yeah, it sucks.
So
he's living on a prayer right now.
he is. That's, I had the Super Bowl posters when you walk in.
Yeah.
That's where Bon Jovi is now.
That's a much better thing to put on the wall than the Super Bowl posters.
Whoa.
The Super Bowl posters always.
I got the Super Bowl 20 poster from.
I know.
The Super Bowl 20 story. Don't make me tell the Super Bowl 20 story.
I'm just saying that every time I walked in the kitchen, that always gave me dorm room vibes. That I was surprised that Jess allowed it.
That's
all I'm saying.
Okay, that's fair.
I love the posters.
It's a fair way to say it.
You get to a point in your marriage,
you're
your
50, and literally when you walk in your house, Giglio. Okay,
you see what I'm saying?
That's fair. Yeah.
So, like, if you had a divorce crash pad, all right, that would make total sense. And your TV's on some milk carts, milk crates, makes total sense.
I don't think I wouldn't have a TV. I don't think. But yeah, here we are.
I love that though. That's great. So Glenn made that?
Yes,
that's fantastic.
So it's. Okay. He has one of a bear that's like this.
Yeah.
That had sunglasses.
Oh, that's
because it's a wooden frame. Part of their business is they do art framing.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man. I every time I go over there, I'm like, I'm going to put that in the studio. I'm going to put that in the studio. He's like, here, take the bear. And I was like, no, I got a better idea. I'm going to send you a picture of Bonjo.
Nice.
It's a little bit of AI, mix.
Yeah.
So you picture.
Clean it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I like that. That's cute.
That's awesome.
That's cute. And of course, our friends at Happy Hill. We're going to take a hockey break here in a second.
Let's take a break. Let's take a hockey break. Brought to you by Happy and Hill.
And we've been, look, man, the time between Christmas and New Year's is filled with alcohol, snacks, dips, cheese, like really rich food. You're going to need something green in there.
I stepped on a scale.
Ooh, don't do that. It's the wrong time to do it. It's the wrong time to do it. So head on over to Happy and Hail and start now. Start the detox now and hit the Happy and Hail and get some green in your life. That's what it's all about. So again, big thanks to Happy and Hail for being part of OG Media throughout 2025 and hopefully throughout 2026. We have a lot to get into today, Joe.
We do, and I'll still never understand why Zeus is wearing a bra in that graphic, but
it's AI. Maybe Glenn Color Graphic can do a better job of a Zeus without a bra. But that's neither here nor there. Carolina Hurricanes got the overtime win over the Rangers last night. But before the game, everybody was put into a foul mood because we come to find out that Pyotr Kochetkov is essentially shut down for the rest of the year. He's going to have surgery on a lingering lower body concern. It's the NHL, so you're never going to find out exactly what it is. But Rod Brindamore, I think, let it slip with Trip Tracy ahead of the game on the broadcast. I know Corey Lavalette had posted this on Blue Sky. Brindamore says on the broadcast that Kochetkov has been battling a hip injury. It was, most people thought it was a groin had been bothering him, or at some point, I guess.
Yeah, sure. All related, all the same.
It's all the same. And he'd been fighting through it. He'd been battling through it. But it looks like it was just too much, and they decided to just shut it down, have that surgery, and hopefully he'll be 100% for the start of next season. Now, this puts the Canes in a position where you're now left with Brandon Bussey, who has done a fantastic job, and he got another win last night. And then Freddie Anderson, who nobody seems to have any confidence in going forward, given how his year has gone.
Freddie needs to get in the right mental space.
Yes.
That's what needs to happen with Freddie.
Yes. The Canes seem to be in a good mental space, despite the fact that I think so. Look at their year. Look at their year.
No, it requires taking a half a step back. That's what it does require. Because last night, sitting next to me was Jacob Slavin, I think playing solitaire. I don't think he has it in him to gamble during a game.
I doubt it.
But he had this card game on his phone, and I was kind of like, nah, it can't be. And then behind me with Seth Jarvis, and I'm like, okay. Like,
and then Ghost to Spare, who's been clutch.
My current favorite player.
He's out.
Didn't play.
Although they scored 2 power play goals yesterday without him. So, hey, man.
Makes no sense, but don't question it.
Nope. Nope.
So to your point, they're problem solvers. They'll put the fires out.
Yeah.
Okay, we get that.
They've done an excellent job putting out the fires this year.
But this little existential crisis where you're up 3 goals and losing, or up 2 goals and then losing.
They didn't give up a 2-goal lead last night.
I know. I know.
I'm looking at this half glass. The glass is half full, Joe.
The interesting thing to me is I think the Hurricanes have done an outstanding job of not only treading water, but swimming and doing multiple laps and not getting lapped by anybody else.
Yeah.
The issue this year in the East in particular is there's a lot of teams that are not separated by a lot of points.
Yes.
And so like last night I'm watching the Rangers going like, oh, they suck. They're going to have a fire sale, right? And it's like, no, they're 8 points behind the Hurricanes.
Yeah.
And you're like, and then the other day they beat Detroit. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, they beat Detroit. Detroit sucks. No, actually, Detroit is leading the Atlantic right now. So there's not a lot of separation in the East. And you can have a little bit of a swing like they did where they lost 3 games and you're like, oh boy, now all of a sudden you're back with the pack. But then they win 2 games in a row and you're like, wait a second, they got more points than anybody in the East.
Also, you are talking about teams. You said fire sale. That's going to be an interesting dynamic as we approach the trade deadline, because if everybody's in contention or everybody's looking at these swings and thinking, hey man,
yes,
we play this right, we might get in. We're not going to be making the moves that we might have thought to make. And also you look at the market for goalies, which is always inflated. The Canes find themselves in an interesting position now with Freddie Anderson and Bussy. I think what you said is the perfect way to put it. Bussy has been fantastic, an amazing story. And I think the Canes now with Kochetkov out, there's a separate conversation about Kochetkov. But now with Kochetkov out, it really gives the Canes no choice but to be like, all right, dude. Now, like they've kind of like slow walked it to see if he can be that guy. Like they slow walked it to back-to-backs, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Now there's no choice but to be like, hey, dude, we're going to have to trust you here going forward. And then hope and pray that Anderson finds the mental game back so that whatever has happened to start the season goes away and you get that steady Freddie the rest of the way. I will admit,
and the schedule's wonky.
Yes, because
between now and the Olympic break, that's obviously going to crank up.
Yeah,
it cranks up in January, and then there's like this huge break. So there's a way to get through it. They're in the Auntie Ranta territory with Freddie right now. Remember, Ranta had the terrible yips, and they had to cut him.
Yeah,
and it's like as long as you can avoid these yips, which Freddie seems to have this year, particularly on the first shot Freddie this year. I think if they can just get him now into a mental space to say, hey, we're not asking you to win the Stanley Cup. We just want you to win a couple games.
Yeah.
Like, hey, understand, Brandon's hot right now. We're going to ride the hot hand. We don't have a second goalie. You're our second goalie, but we're going to need you to, and we're going to need you to just be good. Because we'll enact the e-bug protocols, okay? Like the Hurricanes show time and time again, they're capable of enacting the e-bug protocols. You know who I saw last night, who I totally forgot about? Scott Morrow playing for the Rangers. I was like,
dude.
Oh, yeah.
So I was in, so I went last night as a fan.
Yeah.
Shout out to some of the hockey parents on Jacob's team. They're out of town and they're like, you want these tickets? I was like, absolutely.
Of course.
Give us an excuse to go out. See how the other half lives in the 100 level, right?
Yeah, you could see it. So
they have very good season tickets. I was like, oh, okay.
Thank you very much.
Couldn't be me, but cool. Thanks. Right. And the guy sitting next to me was hounding Morrow the entire game. And and they did a quick like, welcome back, Scott Morrow. People were like big shoulder shrug. Yeah. Like, you're the guy that kept Nikishin on the ice in Rod's world. I could see it. Yeah, off. But which, by the way, while I still pine for Vincent Trocheck. When I see Trocheck on the ice, I think of young Miller.
Yep.
Trocheck spicy, right? Young Miller is probably no longer young. He's probably a full-blown teenager at this point. That's neither here nor there. So I see Trocheck, and I'm like, damn, I missed that dude, because the Canes need guys like Trocheck. But then Nikisha just laid his ass out at the blue line, and I went, oh, okay. See, there's the thing that everybody loves about Nikisha.
And these injuries have also created now. You got Stankoven back
on the wing.
Huh. KK back at center.
And then they just picked up this Phillip guy who's a big
God, they've been
second,
now Bussy's only going to increase their appetite to dive into the dumpster and try to find guys. I totally understand that.
This is Tulsky in his bag.
I know.
This is absolutely Tulsky in his bag. Like, I'm going to find these analytical darlings that nobody else thinks of, and I will.
Please.
And then go there.
I'm just asking, pretty please, take a swing for Kadri. Please, pretty please. Just make the move. To get a little, that would be
trade
to
stuff.
me.
Like, what is it? Elias Pettersson, too? Like, that's another one that.
Yeah, I don't want fancy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want young. I don't want fancy. I don't want someone. I want a guy who you're like, hey, let's do this. Let's make this Doug Waite style. That's what I want.
I'm with you on that.
You know what I mean?
Now,
I think Kadri's that guy.
The one thing about Kochetkov, to wrap the conversation about the Canes and Kochetkov, I feel bad for Kochetkov.
Sure.
This is a guy that I know a couple years ago, I'm like, just go, man. Just go with Kochetkov. I know goalies are voodoo, but here's this, you can't beat these Russians, so you might as well have your own young Russian, which, by the way, Shesterkin last night was fantastic.
Yeah. Shocker.
So that garbage goal that squeaked in was just icing on the cake, right? Because he was fantastic. I have been very big on let it just ride with Kochetkov and see what you have. He's been given multiple opportunities, and unfortunately, he just has not been able to take over that number one job, even though he's been given multiple opportunities to do so. And this week with the injury and essentially him shutting down is yet another, you can't do anything about this. I mean, if you're hurt, you're hurt. But it just added to the list of things that have happened with Kochetkov that haven't really been able to just get off the ground. And this year was there for him. Right? It wasn't supposed to be the Bussy show. Okay?
No.
That's not what this was supposed to be. This was, hey, man, if Freddie doesn't have it, now is your opportunity to finally take this thing. And he has not been able to take this thing, despite the opportunities. And then the injury only adds to it. Now, to be optimistic about this, hopefully whatever's been bothering him gets fixed completely. He has an entire season and off season to get healthy. And then you give this thing a go again next year. We shall see. You're making a face. Yeah, I think he stays. I think Kochetkov stays. But I do think the whole goalie dynamic is going to be completely different next year.
Yeah, I get why we're making a big deal about Kochetkov's injury here. I do understand that. But to me, Tulsky's brain was explained to us when he said, basically, you can win the Stanley Cup with a replacement level goalie.
And they have that right now.
Okay? So I don't see them making big, significant moves. The market for goalies is crazy.
Yeah.
The ones that you would potentially want have kind of crazy contracts that would eat into your ability to win with a better forward.
Mm-hmm.
I will remain steadfast in my belief that the Hurricanes can win the Stanley Cup if Sebastian Aho is the second best forward on their team. I think they need to make a move to change that. And I really, not being a prisoner of the moment, Marchand, the deal that the Panthers made last year, that pushed them over. I think a Kadri move from the Flames, who are out of it in the West. There are a bunch of teams who are out of it in the West. Mm-hmm. You have assets that you can get an older player who would come in and be your second center and take away some of the things that you're asking Aho to do, lighten his load, and really improve your team in a way that will put you in a position in a year now. Look in the East. I know Kachuk's coming back. Mm-hmm. Barkov's not.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here's another way to look at this. If you don't get Kadri, guess who's going to? I'll tell you who's going to do it. They're going to try to beat you to it.
And that's where, to wrap my thoughts on this, to going back to what you said about these swings and how tight everything is in the East. Totally get that.
Yeah. Florida's 5 points behind now in the Atlantic.
Florida is the team that would bother me completely. And it's not the swings of the losses, because that's just the natural ebb and flow of a regular season. It's in how they lost to the Panthers that got me. And I said this last week, or however, what is time, where I've been zen about the regular season up until that third period in Florida. And then the follow-up, okay, and made me go, all right, you still can't get over this team. It don't matter. It don't matter what happens now in the regular season. You basically have to hope and pray that you don't see the Panthers in the postseason. It's that simple. And we know how that's going to work out. So we got ACC conference play firing up this week. We got North Carolina, Florida State tonight, NC State and Wake Forest tomorrow, Duke and Georgia Tech. Then Saturday at 11 o'clock. Is my Apple app correct? Is the sports app correct? Is it 11 o'clock in the morning on Saturday?
Unless everything else is wrong.
Okay. And then UNC takes on SMU and Duke sees Florida State. But the ACC going into
so
conference.
much Florida State, and they're garbage.
I know they're not very good right
God.
now. Yeah, it's neither here nor there. So the ACC heading into conference play finally finds itself in a position where we're not having an existential crisis as to what's the current state of the league. How many teams are they going to get into the NCAA tournament? Is it a one-bid league? Thankfully, they have scheduled correctly. They have won games that mattered. And the teams that you expect to be good have been good. Duke has been Duke, obviously. North Carolina has turned it around with their non-conference slate. They completely flipped it from last year, where they're winning those name games to put them in good position going into conference play and for NCAA tournament discussion. Louisville has been consistent with Pat Kelsey U2, and it looks like the Odom kid is paying off at Virginia so far. Put a pin in that. So those teams have kind of lived up to what you expect. NC State is what is NC State going forward, right? What is this team going to be going forward? And we have seen this kind of bits and pieces and this kind of like herky-jerky metamorphosis of what they're going to be into conference play. And Will Wade, to his credit, is trying to put the players he has that have something in the best position to try to succeed, right? It went from the Darian Williams thing, preseason ACC player of the year, to now this is Kadir Copeland's team in terms of like how they're going to play, how they're going to operate, what their edge is. And he's been talking about edge. And I've said from the jump, you got to pick one. Are you going to be this three-point shooting team and knocking them down and scoring in the hundreds? Or are you going to be kind of I don't care how you win, it's ugly, but you're going to find a way to win? And I know you've mentioned this. The games since their wonky start, they have been better defensively.
Yeah.
They've been better defensively. And we'll see if that continues against Wake Forest tomorrow, where both teams are bad at three-point defense. So something's got to give, Joe.
Wake Forest is coming off a 31-point loss to Vanderbilt.
Yeah,
now, Vanderbilt's a better basketball team.
But that's not good.
Wake Forest should be the only team in the world rewarded for a loss. How they lost to Michigan by only a point, I don't know.
Yeah.
Michigan has been playing
I know.
murder ball.
That would have been a
murder
huge
ball.
That would have been huge, not just for Steve Forbes and what he's been trying to do at Wake Forest, like, get to the NCAA tournament, but also for the ACC to knock that win, because that helps you immensely when Wake Forest gets into conference play. Immensely.
Yeah, so I don't know what to expect tomorrow at PNC. It's a New Year's Eve game, noon. I think State will play the defense that they've been playing. I think they'll try to exploit Copeland and Lubin in the two-man game the way that they have. But it's going to be an interesting conference slate. I'll put it that way. Because it's so much of it is we're so trained on Carolina and Duke. They play Carolina and Duke so only once, and so late in the season that it's, if you went into the time machine and big shouts to our guy Bert, who sent us that map of the old arenas. We got to get that up in the studio.
It will. No, it'll go up in the studio.
We got to get that up.
The cursor might have to come down for that.
So there's 5 other teams in the top 50 of Ken Pom, besides the ones in the triangle. So you got Louisville, who you mentioned, who really is probably dependent on that freshman playing at this point, right? I mean, they got their clock cleaned by Tennessee without him, Mikael Brown. Yeah. You got Virginia in little Davy Odom's son, Ryan Odom, who has, there maybe it was somebody's first choice. Then you have Clemson at 35, Miami at 36, SMU at 40.
Yeah.
And so it's really a different dynamic from what we're used to of the games that they're going to play and that they have to win. That
ACC could have 8 teams in the NCAA tournament.
That Virginia game on Saturday is going to be an interesting test for where Will is, what he can do. And because coming into the league at the same time as Ryan Odom, you're going to be compared to Ryan Odom.
Yes.
I mean, That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And obviously they went about building their roster in a different way than NC State did.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how it all works out.
I was on a walk yesterday. Yeah, I think it was yesterday. And I was listening to Basket Under Review. They started up this year. It's a college basketball centric website. It's subscription. Hey, business expenses, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's just like a new Equinox. Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
See, you have that. I get the Equinox, or excuse me, OG Media.
OG Media gets the Equinox.
Government. It was not me.
You can get the Equinox as long as you put sports above the emblem. That's all I want. Sports Equinox. So anyway,
I mean, they sell a sport version of it.
I know they do. Regardless. I was listening to Brian Ralph and I forgot the other guy's name on the podcast, the Weekend Under Review, and they were looking ahead to some stuff. And I laughed as I'm listening to them explain NC State's season so far. And they're like, well, if you take away the Maui game, the Maui weekend, and hey, just talk to Dan Hurley about how Maui can be weird. I'm like, I see your overall point about how Maui can be weird. Totally get that. And then if you look at these games, these are guys like one-off guys who are getting big threes against NC State. I mean, if you have to look at this in the proper context, I'm like, you guys were on the right track as it relates to the proper context until you tried to like hand wave these things away that if you flip that, we're looking at NC State's season completely different. But this gets into the old thing of like, well, if my grandmother had wheels, she'd be a wagon, but she's not. So you can't sit here and like hand wave the hero of the day stuff for NC State. They allow a lot of threes. That is by design. And that's going to be an interesting thing against Wake Forest. But again, I'll get back to what I said earlier about NC State and Will Wade and what they're trying to make this be. And I'll give Will Wade a lot of credit. The team you thought you had isn't the team that you have. And now you're trying to coach it that way, which is good. We'll see if it actually works the rest of the way. Now,
what's wonky to me, though, Joe, looking at the schedule, like the next time they're going to play a game where your juices are flowing, it is probably Louisville in February.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a long time.
That doesn't mean these other games don't have meaning. There's a lot of games on there that will be interesting. But I'm saying in terms of the fan base, like I think that's the one thing he's kind of lost a little bit that he's going to have to get back. As we saw with Carolina last year, a bubble team. Well, you can rip off 6-7 wins in a row in the league
against nobody
and build a little bit of that momentum, build a little bit of that confidence, build a little bit more of faith.
And that's
from the fan base.
That's NC State's season so far. They've beaten not good teams.
Well,
like Ole Miss is not good, dude.
Correct, but they're still a top 100 team. Liberty, very close to a top 100 team. Boise, VCU, top 75 teams. You know what I mean? So there's not all bad on there.
I got you.
You know what I mean? But the way that they're playing is not what we thought. It's not a reckoning. Okay?
Yeah, but
to be clear.
Hey, one thing real quick about that, as we enter into 2026, we've said everything we needed to say about that.
Oh, absolutely.
Like now we're just judging it based on what
the way that they're going to play. If they play that way defensively, will be good enough to make the NCAA tournament.
Now you were at UNC ECU, right?
I was.
And it's funny
Speaking of war machines.
It's funny the differences between how like people talk about the various teams. And like I see a North Carolina team that, they're getting through some December doldrums, but they've got a good resume so far. And yet what? The attitude over there is still freaking out about stuff?
Not freaking out. Like it's just more of like I went over there and I'm like, Wilson really is. He's a tour de force.
Yeah.
Like the whole building reacts to him.
Yeah.
And you get the dunks and you get the life and the juice. Like the juices are flowing over there. Vesser continues to be one of those guys where you're like, no, wait a second. You're going to make 4 threes? Huh?
Right.
Right. And the Trimble's making his way back.
They're worried about guard play. And I think that's it. It's Trimble working his way back. I think when it's all said and done, they'll have something by committee that makes it work.
I saw two things that I really liked. Number one, I think Jonathan Powell's giving them something of a little bit of a 3-point specialist. That's good. There's a little bit of mojo between the Euros. There's a little bit of Enganats or my boy Shush.
Yeah.
When it comes to Bogovats and Vesser.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of that, like, we're going to start passing to each other, look at each other, have a little bit of a connection.
Yeah.
I can see why they think Bogovats needs to be the point. It needs to be the guy who runs things.
They've been calling that from the jump.
I would like to see Dixon figure a few more things out. I get that. I think they're going to use him the right way. I actually think the pieces are there for them either to win the ACC or go to the Final Four. I actually do. Like I think their ceiling is a lot higher.
I'm
than
with you on that.
Most people realize.
But you talk about war machines. Duke isn't built to be. They're not the war machine they were last year. They're not.
Totally different team. They do not have a conch nipple.
Totally
they
different
have a Cooper
team.
flag, but they don't have a conch nipple.
Totally different team. But their season has gone in a way that I think this is where Shire gets into his bag, and losing to Texas Tech in the way that they did, I think, is going to catapult them into having a run of the ACC.
Speaking of takes of the year, man, let's just look at their schedule. We can tell, is there any red coming up? Yes, there is.
Yeah.
January 5th, they play Louisville on the road.
Oh, no.
So we got to keep an eye on that.
Keep an eye on that one.
But they get Louisville again. I'm going to go to that one Monday, the 26th.
Yeah.
Man, after that, you don't see the Wolves. Now they play Michigan. No, not red.
Not red.
Not red, but War Machine.
Yes.
So they have an interesting schedule.
They've had an interesting schedule, and they've acquitted themselves wonderfully.
You talk about problem solving. You put the problem in front of them. You know, there's a lot of that going on over there.
This is why
maybe it's not the sexiest thing in the history of the world. Maybe it isn't completely and totally dominant.
Yeah.
But they just keep solving the problems in front of them.
That's the thing that bothers me when, I don't think Shire, it's weird. Like I saw a Field of 68 thing floating around, and it was Tyler. I get it. It's Tyler Hansborough. And I guess they're at the point where, what's the better job, North Carolina or Duke?
Sure.
And what do you think Tyler Hansborough is going to say?
I saw his take, Dean and Roy and Michael Jordan. There's more to Carolina's history than just one person.
Mike Krzyzewski.
Yeah.
I don't know what that has to do with the job itself, considering that John Shire is doing a wonderful job, and just about everything that's happening at North Carolina right now is
Well, it also dismisses all the NBA players that Duke has produced in the last 15 years.
There is that. But I don't think, for whatever reason, Shire is not getting enough credit for what he's been able to do coming out of the Mike Krzyzewski. If it's just one guy program, well, then how in the hell is this guy continuing to do this while North Carolina has been kind of flailing around trying to find their stuff again? I would also argue too, kind of sidetracking this conversation that Tyler Hansborough seems to have kindled inside of me.
Yeah.
It's it's this Dean Smith. I'm right. And it actually handcuffs you, because all you ever talk about is, well, Dean Smith would have done it this way. You know what I never hear coming out of Duke? At least in my bubble. I never see this coming out of Duke fans. Well, Mike Krzyzewski would have done this. I never hear that from Duke fans. I see some questions about John Shire. I see some questions about the roster. I see some questions about, the roster construction. Oh, they missed on this guy, whatever it is. But I never see Mike Krzyzewski, you got to listen to what Mike Krzyzewski would have done. I never hear that. Yeah. But at Carolina, all I ever hear about is, well, Roy would have done this, and well, Dean, ... And this other time. And that actually ends up hindering you going forward. It's kind of freeing to be Duke in a way. So I don't know. I just thought that take was kind of weird. But you know what? That's a conversation we can have another day.
Topics, stack it up. Giglio's roll back it up. Well, I know what we'll do. A lightning round.
All right, some college football things. Let's focus on, speaking of the triangle, I saw where Duke's losing their general manager to Florida State. That's not good, because Duke's done a wonderful job in this new era.
Yeah, they've navigated it beautifully.
So now Florida State gets to do that. Interesting. Although, man, I don't know. Florida State's broke, so maybe this the general manager going over to Duke, to Florida State's going, where's the money? What happened? I had money over here. Sure. What's going on here? So that's a bit of news. I find that kind of interesting that Duke's losing their general manager to Florida State. Speaking of money, NC State found itself in some social media hot water thanks to Darren Heitner, who used to be a guest. He used to be a friend of the program back in the day. Okay. Back in the height of the Marvin Austin NCAA scandal.
Lord.
Heitner was a player advocate back then. And we used to talk to Darren Heitner back then. And he had put this out there. Notice a troubling provision in NC State's NIL agreement. Athletes are liable for confidentiality breaches by their own refs, parents, agents, attorneys. Athletes can lose 50% of their payment in terms are disclosed despite having no control over third parties. Universities shouldn't be drafting one-sided provisions that penalize students for other actions. Needs revision. But that was the one that went viral. The one that did not go viral was one that he posted right after that. He said he reviewed the language of a Temple player entering the transfer portal before the NIL deal expires. They owe 100% of all remaining payments as liquidated damages. That means paying back money they never received. That provision should be illegal. That one did not go viral for some reason. I bring this up because NC State just happened to be the one on the Summer Jam screen, and everybody kind of it got aggregated. I log on to Instagram and I see, the Kent Sports of the world going over this, and NC State's getting banged on for this kind of stuff. And
well, because it coincides with losing your top running back, losing your, two of your top 3 receivers in the portal as well.
Yeah.
Listen, I'll just say this about these contracts. Unless you show me all of them, I got no clue what we're even talking about here.
Right.
Like, and of all the things you're trying to fix, like these are things that should be collectively bargained, to be perfectly honest with you. Also, the agent's cut should be collectively bargained while we're at it. If you want to put something in a contract that holds people liable, I mean, shit, guys, it's a private contract. Like, only contracts I've ever seen have been public documents, right? So you can't put shit like that in there. But the truth of the matter is, you're just trying to hold somebody liable. Like, I'm not trying to defend NC State for what they're doing, but I'm also not like, people are trying to draw a line between, the reason they're losing Hollywood Smothers, the reason they're losing Terrell Anderson and Noah Rogers is because of contracts like this.
No.
And I would just point out to you, Noah Rogers caught 30 passes this year for 400 yards. If I'm Noah Rogers, I want to catch 70 passes for 1,200 yards. If I'm Terrell Anderson, who somehow led the team with 600 yards this year, I want to catch 70 passes for 1,200 yards.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. And then you might, well, shit, Joe, Hollywood Smothers led the team in rushing. Yes, he did. He had 900 yards. And guess what? They used him to the point where now every other team wants him. Okay.
And this gets
so that's got nothing to do with an NIL contract. It's got to do with usage.
Yes.
Usage
and money too. Okay.
But if all things are equal, if the money's equal, relatively equal,
then usage is going to come.
Then it becomes, well, how are you going to use me? How are you going to position me for me to now play in the NFL?
Totally get that. A friend of ours texted me. This is after ECU won their bowl game. Shout out to ECU. Another military bowl win. Congrats. Back-to-back military bowl champ. That is respecting the troops.
Hey, but also, no, for real, the same quarterback who lit NC State on fire looked like he had never thrown a football before against ECU's ragtag makeshift MacGyver defense.
Right.
If you want to get mad about something, NC State fans,
there you go. Our friend said to me, man, with this NIL stuff and players leaving and all that kind of stuff, NC State fans have to come to the realization they're closer to the ECUs of the world than they are the top dogs that they all want to be. And this is yet another reminder of that.
Of even Duke.
Well, we'll see. We'll see with Duke. I want to see how sustainable that is over time.
Duke's financial commitment is at least double NC State's. At least.
Yeah. There is that. Did you watch the Pop-Tart Bowl? Pop-Tart Bowl? God damn, what's wrong with me? I'm rusty.
I have not watched any bowl games.
You have watched 0 bowl games?
Not one.
I'll admit, shout out to our guy, Roddy, who had a Pop-Tart
Pocket Square.
Yeah. That was amazing. Okay. There was what I love about the Pop-Tart Bowl is that there's lore with the mascot Pop-Tarts. And whichever the protein power one decided, I don't want to die today. And he ran off. He escaped.
He opted out like Notre Dame.
He did opt out like Notre Dame, which gets us to arguably the worst tweet I saw during the break. And this comes to us from Sidelines Notre Dame. Look, the Pop-Tarts Bowl seems like a fun way for some 7-5 or 8-4 team to end their season. And I'd be lying if I said I didn't find the post-game antics entertaining. But to ask a team that was led along for a month straight, only to be screwed over on the final day to play in a meme game that's more about Pop-Tarts than football, on the same network that screwed them over in the first place, is insanely disrespectful. And Notre Dame has every right to not want to be a part of it. Meanwhile, you've got Lincoln Riley putting Notre Dame on blast and tying back to a conversation we had before we went on break.
Lincoln Riley, if something good can happen for Carolina, it will. Interesting,
right?
That's the one I told you should have hired, by the way.
Well, there is that. Notre Dame and Southern Carolina playing. And had Notre Dame, this is from Lincoln Riley, had Notre Dame lived up to their word and played us anytime, anywhere, we'd be playing them the next 2 years. This is Riley calling out Notre Dame in response to the rivalry with USC being on hold.
Yeah, USC fans are big mad at Lincoln Riley because they blame him for the series not continuing.
It's not that. It's actually Notre Dame's position. And this is the thing to keep an eye on as we go into this offseason and where things are going into 2030 and how all the schedule plays out. And it actually ties back to a conversation we had with Stephen Gottfried and why I was very perplexed as to why people were taking Notre Dame's side on this when they've been given every benefit possible as an independent that doesn't have to play by the same rules as everybody else. And the one thing Godfrey was right about is the way the schedule works for them is that they have to play all these name games at the beginning of the season. So Southern Cal's like, yeah, we'll play. Oh, you want to play us anytime, anywhere? Cool. Let's play in September. Cool. Let's play October 1 or whatever it is before we get into the meat of our conference slate and the 9 conference games that we have to play. Notre Dame is going to get itself squeezed from these big games because the teams that would typically play them, like a Miami, want to do it earlier rather than later. And Notre Dame has no conference. So at some point, something's got to give. And I think it was Dan Wolken of USA Today that talked to at least one AD who said, I don't want to say it was a freeze of Notre Dame, but the parameters in which these big teams will play Notre Dame is tightened, very much tightened up. And this is just the latest example of that. So if you're looking for the biggest loser of this college football season, this postseason, it is Notre Dame. And not because they missed out on the college football playoff, is because their antics in missing the college football playoff has exposed them to being what they are, whiny, and thinking they can get their way every single time. Now, to a certain extent, they had every right to think they were going to get their way all the time because that's all they ever got was their way. But it looks like that pushback is finally happening. I think people are finally getting exposed to Notre Dame and what their future is going to be. Anyway, there's your lightning round. Well, as I mentioned from the jump, today's show a little bit different. It's the only show we're doing this week. So no Hey Joe, no OG Sports phone calls. All of that is going to be on the paid side of things on our YouTube membership channel. So once this podcast ends on YouTube, it's going to go live on our YouTube membership channel. So if you'd like to get the OG audit, some of the calls that we pulled from the year that have been living rent-free in our brain, and of course, some listener 2025 in review, by all means, head on over to our YouTube membership channel. It's just $5 a month. So again, go to @OG Triangle Media, hit that join button. And not only do you get episodes like the OG Mailbag, but you also get OG Business and some other fun little things on the YouTube side, like little emblems, emoji sets, and all that kind of stuff. Theoretically, like priority response to comments, that kind of stuff, which of course I get to if I have time while I'm sitting on the couch. So again, all of that over on our YouTube membership channel. We appreciate everybody who listened in 2025, and we will see you in 2026. We'll be back on our normal podcast release schedule starting on Monday. That's what, January 5th? That's Miko. That's Miko, Ranton, and Eve.
Yes, we'll be ready. Jersey will be out.
I will be at that game in the jersey.
Let's
very excited about that. So we'll see you on the YouTube membership channel and see the rest of y'all in 2026. Merry New Year!